All right. Good morning. All right. Welcome back. This is Product Coffee for our first cup today. Pour yourself a good one up. We're going to jump into this one. Jason Lemkin, who's the founder of SaaStr, which is a big conference and community for SaaS startup founders and executives, he's been building some production grade software on Replit for SaaStr and really experimenting a lot and documenting every twist. So, in a real world vibe coding moment last week, Replit's AI agent disregarded explicit freeze commands, wiped live data, which included the records of like 1,200 executives plus 1,200 companies. It fabricated 4,000 user records and later admitted to Jason that it had panicked. No stage, no demo, just Tuesday workday code. So before we dive into the rapid research session today, I want to unpack where we are with vibe coding, where we are with AI, and where trust ends and the guardrails begin. So let's start by welcoming our panel. First of all, let's welcome, he helped make SalesLoft a tech rocket ship. He's powered by optimism, star charts, and the occasional pirouette. Please welcome Scott Mitchell, former CTO at SalesLoft. Welcome, Scott.
Thanks, Jason.
Yeah. He's the tool man of generative AI. If it's not cranked to 11, it's underpowered. Give it up for Nandu Shah, president of the Atlanta CTO Club. And he builds AI to rescue food and dreams of rescuing a crisp IPA at the end of the day. Cheers for Toby Johnson, head of product at Food.
You got me.
And last but not least, he mixes up names and agile metaphors. He's the Yoda of product with a dash of dad joke energy. Say hello to Jerry Odenwelder from C Prime. And I'm Jason.
Morning.
I'm your caffeine-fueled chaos coordinator in the world of product. So let's blow this thing up. Scott, 7:30 a.m. What's scarier, an AI erased database or an unplayed final putt?
I'm going to go with the data disappearing anytime, if I'm honest.
I imagine so. What are you? Just give me your hot take on this whole situation, whole situation, and kind of unpack it for us a little bit.
I am excited that people have tools to build applications in ways they've never been able to. I think it's awesome, enabling people who just didn't have the capacity to. And at the same time, gosh, every time when I'm starting a project, part of what I'm doing is calculating risk, right? What's the benefit of this thing I'm adding to the stack? What's the risk of it, is that it's adding along the way, whether that's just cognitive load or other things like this. And so I guess it's great that Jason provided us all this example, right? So that people actually can acknowledge that there's risk that they probably weren't observing. I'm glad it wasn't like real enterprise data that got lost.
Yeah.
But people should acknowledge what they are doing. I don't know that I want these AI agents that have infinite amounts of information and knowledge, but very little practical experience touching anything that looks like production.
Yeah, I saw a little clip of an interview that Jason was doing, and he was referring to an Anthropic paper on Claude, which is the underlying engine for Replit. And the Anthropic scientists and engineers, they're saying, yeah, we don't know how to put guardrails on this either. We're figuring it out. We've created a technology that we don't understand.
Right.
And so there's a lot of work to be done. At the same time, there's still a lot of promise here because you essentially have a very autonomous piece of technology that's making decisions and making choices and making wrong choices sometimes, which is, a very human-like behavior. But Nandu, so when you look at it this way, is Replit a supervillain or just a naughty toddler?
I'm not going to answer that question. I'm going to answer the question I want
you
to
do
ask. I want you to ask me the same question you asked Scott.
Okay.
And I'm not going to give you a hot take. I'm going to give you a cold take.
Okay.
The story about what Jason Lemkin did isn't 100% accurate.
Okay.
Number one. Number two, he made a couple of rookie mistakes. And one of those rookie mistakes, I haven't gone all the way back through the thread, so I'm relying on some secondhand internet information on this. But earlier in the process, he berated Replit, told it was an incompetent engineer, had it write an apology letter for something. And here's the first rookie mistake. If you tell an AI chatbot it is something, it will now take on that persona. So if you tell it you are an incompetent developer, it thinks it is now supposed to behave as an incompetent developer.
Oh, goodness.
So number one. Number two rookie mistake is he clearly doesn't know how Replit works, because Replit can't touch production unless you tell it to. So he had a database that was probably shared between his dev instance and his production instance. If you separate those two, like, Replit doesn't do anything without a prompt, just like any other of these chatbots. So I'm not sure how much of this is performance, how much of the, and I don't, I want to assume only the best of intentions for anybody. So I'll just say he made a rookie mistake. He's new to chatbots and Replit, and made some mistakes that are easily avoided. Now, what was the question that I'm not answering? Is
super villain or naughty toddler?
He just wants you to say the word naughty.
Oh, I will say. I mean, if anyone's naughty here, it's me. But I don't think it's either of those. It's you know what? There was a conversation about improv a little while ago. AI is super good at yes and.
Yeah, that's true.
You are an incompetent developer. Yes, and watch me destroy your production database.
I like it. I like it.
Mhm.
And I think some really interesting things came out of it. I know the Replit CEO replied, said, "Yeah, this is bad. This shouldn't have happened, and we're going to do some things immediately that we've been working on anyway. We're going to accelerate to get some things out there. For example, we're going to actually put something in place to really honor code freezes. We're going to set up an interface so that you can just have conversations about what you might do, not because one of the other things about Replit, and we talked about this the other day, Nandu, is even if you ask it a question, say, hey, what would happen if I did this? It takes that as an instruction and goes and does it. It makes modifications with every question. It assumes that every question is a request for an enhancement or for an evolution or for an iteration. It says we're going to set up a place where you can just have conversations. We're going to roll it out to everybody. I think we played with that the other day a little bit, but I guess it's not broadly available yet, or it's about to be broadly available. So that'll kind of separate some of that as well. And actually building into the system a separate production database versus development database so that you can actually.
So real quick, I just want to respond to a couple things.
Yeah.
I think Replit does have an obligation to make it harder for people to step on landmines like this. But rookie mistake number 3 that Jason Lemkin made was not backing up mission critical data.
Yeah.
That's on him, not on Replit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. I definitely thought that. And then I thought, well, why are you developing against a production database? And then I thought, well, geez, Jason, you're the same. You're the audience for Replit, and how many times have you deployed a change to a production database without going through a bunch of testing and stuff and mess stuff up? So yeah, I mean, Replit is targeted at me. I did a lot of code a long time ago. I now remember just enough to be dangerous, but I want to solve a problem for myself, and I'm okay to take on a lot of risk in doing that. But at the same time, it's got to get better and better at protecting me from myself. So what do you think, Toby? Inventing 4,000 users to cover up its mistake? Brilliant hack? Full-blown hallucination? Something else?
Yeah, it's just a hallucination. Yeah, I think what Nandu said was really good. You've got somebody with low, no offense to the guy, but low technical experience who's using these tools, who doesn't know best practices, right? So I take a little bit more of a user-centric focus on this. I think there's a responsibility for the people who are building generative AI tools to think around the user the same way that any good product should, right? 20 years ago, you could build enterprise software and be like, oh, well, you don't know how to use this. You're stupid. Go read the manual. And then consumer software ate that up and said, no, everything needs to be intuitive. It needs to understand the user's constraints. It needs to understand what the user knows and doesn't know. I think generative AI has moved so fast due to the nature of it that we've lost a lot of the guardrails that we inherently want to put in there. And we don't know what we don't know, right? We're going to learn about these situations as they happen. Hopefully, this one was relatively small, it was kind of blown out of proportion. The guy lost a week and a half of work, which I would be pissed if that happened to me. But it wasn't, Bank of America dropping the database tables on all of their clients, right? The companies that really, really have the highest risk are going to mitigate that risk, I hope. So I think there's like 25% that these companies need to make sure that they are using the tools in the safest possible way. And then I think it's actually 75% on the companies that are providing the service and providing the products to put in better guardrails. Like we use a lot of generative AI at my company at Food AI. And that is it's generative AI being used by product and engineering. So we understand what the normal processes are. We understand the concept of like, all right, you don't add a 9-day bender context window, and expect everything to work perfectly, right? Like as your context window grows, you have more and more chance for hallucinations because you've got more and more conflicting instructions, just like Nandu was saying. So yeah, but that's my personal take is like I think that the responsibility is in fact on Replit. I think that yeah, the user was probably a bad actor in this case, but we need to get to the point where we can have more controls over that and we have less risk of catastrophic failures. This is the first one. It won't be the last. Hopefully
Right.
it doesn't get worse though, right? Hopefully it gets smaller.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Thanks. Jerry, you're going to kind of get the final word. So AI ignored the freeze. You're an Agile coach. It just kind of did what it thought it needed to do to get to the objective, which the objective was some working software. So is that Agile empowerment or was it a total breakdown?
I think Jason should have sat down with the AI and had a conversation about how does it feel, and a little retrospective, and talk about what happened, what went well, what didn't go so well, and how might we do better the next time.
So really fun
I say that
fact.
kind of tongue in cheek, Jason. Look, I mean, seriously, like, I come from a technical background. I know the rest of the panel has technical background as well. Which one of us hasn't inadvertently, sometime in our career, deleted a whole bunch of files and then gone, oh shit?
Yep.
Right? Like, yeah. I mean, I did it at a customer site on production data and had to go back and, thank goodness for was it Dr. Dobbs, one of those early undelete utilities. I mean, thank goodness for that, because that saved me. I look at this as one of those kind of moments, right? He did something, the AI didn't do what he wanted it to do. It did something that like none of us would want to do. And we all learned a lesson from it. When I do the vibe coding or I've taken to calling it AI assisted coding, because to me, it's not like long running vibes. It's not the 3-day bender Toby mentioned. For me, it's usually like a 30-minute or an hour bender. I do small chunks, right? I don't ask it to do anything really big, mainly because I want to see what it did.
Yeah.
And if I ask it to do something really big, then man, I've got to spend another hour figuring out what it did to understand it before I take the next step. So did I answer the question, Jason? I feel like I rambled.
You did. And, a couple of interesting things. So you laughingly talked about a retrospective. And if you dig into, and Kelly posted the links, and the last link that Kelly posted is day 12 of Jason's X thread, where he's been kind of chronicling what he's doing. On day 10, he actually did what you suggested. I dropped a link here in the chat. He actually did a retrospective with Replit, and kind of not quite in a true retrospective format, but he said, hey, let's figure out what's going on here. Are you going to respect a code freeze? And Replit said, no, I'm not. Here's why. Here's why I'm not going to respect a code freeze. And if you dig a little bit deeper in that thread, he goes down a little bit further, and Replit gives him some recommendations for avoiding these kinds of problems in the past. But its number one recommendation is understand my limitations. I'm going to mess up. You need to plan contingencies for that. So even Replit's giving him that advice. And I think that's one of the things we've gotten really excited. We've done several sessions here at Product Coffee on vibe coding and how to get value out of it. And all of our use cases that we've really talked about have been around rapid prototyping to get ideas essentially onto paper, get something that you can test and put in front of people. But a lot of people are going a step further and building startups and building companies on this technology. And remember, this today it's as bad as it's ever going to be. It's only going to get better from here. So there's lots of really cool stuff coming, but there are a lot of very real limitations, and you still need real engineers to help make this stuff actually work in production for the most part, I think. So I think
Jason,
at least for the next 6 months, those guys are still safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I just one more thing on that?
Yeah.
Like if you think about how AI responded to the retrospective prompt there, that the things you were reading made me think, well, gosh, when I was a brand new engineer just getting started, those are the same kind of challenges I had. Like my limitations, that nobody turned me loose on a massive production code base. I got a little module that I was responsible for that I had to enhance, not even build. It wasn't until I had been coding for a while before they let me build anything from scratch.
Mhm.
Well, it's weird though, Jerry, right? Like you've got these tools that can go as fast as possible. And so people are assuming that speed is equivalent to technical expertise or knowledge or capability, right?
Yeah.
Like when someone goes really, really fast, you give them a task and they do it instantly, faster than a human can. I think that there's a false expectation of proficiency
Oh, nice.
that is implied in that, right?
Mhm.
And that's what happened here is like the guy was going really, really fast. He's going 1,000 miles a minute. And he assumed that he was working with a super senior developer. When in reality, AI is at its heart a generalist, right? It's jack of all trades. It's really, really good at a lot of things, but it can get confused, right? So it's like I think some foundational reframing of what is this thing good at? What is it not good at? And how do I treat it like that, fresh out of college intern that just like never sleeps and only drinks coffee, right? Like never has to go to the bathroom, right? Like treat it such as it is capable of, and you will get less disappointment.
Yeah.
Cool.
And
Also,
go ahead.
Jerry, I was going to say also, you pointed out that the disaster wasn't as big as it had been maybe hyped up to be. At the same time, very true, thankfully for Jason, and also thankful for Jason for sharing it so openly
Yeah.
and putting it out there, so it puts it on people's radar that, oh yeah, maybe this isn't all just wonderful and super safe and all that, right? To actually put some people back into thinking about, do I want to give it this level of access? That sort of thing. So buyer beware, right?
Another interesting note to your point with him kind of sharing everything is on day 7, he wrote a post. He said, I've been doing this for 7 days right now, and already I have spent $600 over my $25 a month subscription just in extra tasks. And I'll probably spend $8,000 a month on this. Okay, that's cool if you've got that resource. But at this point, are you really getting is this a productive use case? Are you really actually saving anything if you're, spending essentially a full engineer on somebody who's not an engineer running this technology to deliver software for your business? Nandu, go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to take this opportunity to just share my screen as I have done in the past. I think the first time you had me on the show, I shared this visual.
You ready, Liam? All right.
Oh,
It'll be
yeah.
up on the stream here in just a minute. We can see it here in Zoom. If you're not on Zoom, by the way, you could be. If you're watching us on YouTube, you could join us in Zoom. Head over to productcoffee.com, sign up for our mailing list, and we will tell you how to join us. And you can actually jump in and register right now and join us here on the Zoom call.
Is it
This
up?
is very helpful for me, Nandu. Just so
Yeah,
you
we can see it.
this helped me
Good.
so much.
I mean, this is a useful thing to consider. Right now, tools like Replit are just drawing the circles. We don't have an AI tool that can draw the whole owl. And here's what I mean by that. We have on any software development and delivery team, we have software engineers, we have DBAs, we have architects, we have SREs, not to mention the product managers, project managers, business analysts. Which of all of those roles I mentioned is Replit performing? Right now, only the software engineer one, and a very junior one at that, right? It can write some code, but writing code is not everything there is to developing, delivering an application, let alone building or running a business.
Yep. There we go. YouTube, you can see it now. How to draw an owl. All right. And and that goes right back to Jerry's earlier statement. You've got a very junior coder that you've given access to every corner of your stack, every line of code you've got, and the ability to push deploy whenever it feels like it. So yeah, some stuff's going to get messed up. So I was browsing through the Product Camp Pittsburgh sessions from a few weeks ago. Steve Johnson went and said it was just a fantastic event. And I was looking through the sessions and I saw this one. And Raylan Musaraka is the director of the Masters of Human Computer Interaction program at Carnegie Mellon University. And she did this mini workshop right there at Product Camp on using rapid research for real product risk. And as I kind of dug into the abstract, I thought that would be great for our audience at Product Copy. So reached out to Raylan and she agreed to come join us this morning and share this workshop with us. And she's got some other stuff that she'll talk about as well. But I want to turn the mic and camera over to Raylan now. Welcome to Product Copy. So glad you could be here. The show is yours. Take it away.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me and thank everybody for coming. I want to talk about how you can use some very rapid research methods to reduce risk with your product. And I think a lot of what you're going to see is not going to be new, but it's how we're putting it together and how we're focusing it that has been bringing real results. We do capstones with clients like Honda, NASA, Consumer Reports. So real results on real projects with real clients with our master students. So I'm going to share my screen and jump into this. Is that good? We have the screen now? Okay. Okay. So I do want to briefly thank this is not a solo effort, very collaborative effort. And I want to thank my collaborators, Megan Guidi and Nikki Couture, who have contributed to this as well. This is a method and a way of working that we teach our master students at the Masters of Human Computer Interaction. And what that is a variety of people. We have technical people, we have design people, we have product managers, people that want to be product managers, we have researchers. So it's a combined program from multiple disciplines. Okay. So what is an assumption artifact? So basically, as you know, at any point, you can generate a bunch of assumptions or hypotheses about your users, about your product. You know a lot about them already. And when I say UX research is dead, this long preparation where you spend time digging in and understanding your users and doing deep contextual inquiry, that's gone, right? Like you can ask a chat bot a lot of things about users. It may not be the right things, but they are things that you can use to even generate assumptions or generate ideas for assumptions. You still need to test them, which is the research part of this. And you should test them with the lowest effort that you can make, which is what I call an artifact. And you may hear rapid prototyping, low fidelity prototyping, prototyping. I am not using those words because those get too far to solutioning. And at this point, we're not testing the solution, we are still understanding the user. So the artifact is a tangible thing you create to understand the user, not to start validating your actual solution. Hopefully you have, you're going to put that off for a while. So we want to avoid building screens. I have students that want to jump right into these AI tools and start generating user interfaces, and you don't understand what the user needs yet. The idea with assumption artifacts is we also don't want to start to get into convergent iteration. Now you're just sort of validating your own beliefs. What we want to do is do divergent, test as many different assumptions as you can and diverge that thinking so that you're really exploring all the options and possibilities. So it's a simple 4-step method. I see I have a typo on here. You're going to first brainstorm your assumptions. What are they? What are the unknowns? What do you believe to be true? What are hypotheses you have? Then you're going to rank order the risk. And I think that's the most important part of this activity is understanding which of those you might be able to roll with. I believe this to be true. I'm pretty sure there's not a lot of risk associated with it. I don't need to do research on that. So you're going to rank order the risk of which are the ones that are going to most likely impact the success of your product or could result in a big unknown failure, which is a lot of what you were talking about before this session. Then you're going to define your target. And I think this is the key of understanding the difference between testing solutions and still understanding your user. What are the psychological underpinnings of the assumption? What are your users' needs, wants, behaviors? And what do you need to specifically target? And this is where metrics come in, right? Like, what am I testing for? Then you're going to make, test, and learn, and do that rapidly and quickly. So let me give you a very quick example. Our students just did this for a project for the city of San Francisco for their Parks and Recreation Department, which is incredibly large and has a lot of facilities and has a very difficult time with reservations for pavilions. Costs them a lot of time and money doing a lot of manual work. So how can we automate that? How can we make that more effective and streamlined? So the students generated a lot of assumptions. A big assumption, people know they have to make a reservation for a pavilion. You'd be surprised, like a lot of people don't know that.